You know what I've always loved in video games more than perhaps any other gameplay feature? Well, you saw the title of the video, grappling hooks! These things have always fascinated me in video games, and I think it's because the grappling hook is one of those things we'll never really experience in real life. Physics is, after all, a very harsh mistress. The power required to launch a hook that far, the length of cable you need to swing your body around or climb buildings, it'd be impossible to make a small enough device that you could actually do this, right? And yes, I know what you're gonna say. I've seen the videos too. There are some people on YouTube that have created something of like a grappling hook-like device, but if we're being honest, these things I've seen on YouTube, they're not exactly grappling hooks. I'm sorry. I wish they were. They aren't. And since we're bringing physics into this, the force is required. Even if you could design like a grappling hook, right? The force is required to swing your whole body around like that. That would more likely just rip your arm clean off. But that's the thing about video games, allowing me to experience things that would likely get me killed. These are the best things to do in video games. So with that in mind, here are my favorite grappling hooks in retro gaming history. And because I know some people will be mad at this, I am intentionally excluding games like Ocarina of Time or Goof Troop on the SNES. The reason for that is because I'm talking about grappling hooks that are really dynamic, that allow you to swing from one place to the next and to pick up momentum. Games like Ocarina of Time or Goof Troop, they're more about using the grappling hook mechanic to go from point A to point B. It's not quite the same thing. That's why they're not included here. I'm talking exclusively about games that make you feel like Spider-Man. In fact, the whole like Spider-Man games would fit into this category as well because web shooters are basically grappling hooks. Worms Armageddon. Released in 1999, Worms Armageddon is a beloved turn-based strategy game where players control teams of, well, as the title says, worms, battling on destructible landscapes using all sorts of weapons, from the somewhat realistic, like grenades and machine guns, to the weird and whimsical, like an exploding superhero sheep. One of the true standouts of the game is the ninja rope, which functions as a grappling hook. In fact, perhaps it's the one that really got me into this gameplay genre. The ninja rope allows worms to traverse the terrain quickly, reach strategic positions, and escape dangerous situations. Its flexible mechanics provide players with a wide range of tactical options, making it a favorite tool among experienced players. The ninja rope's physics-based movement adds an element of skill and creativity to the game. Players can swing across gaps, climb vertical surfaces, and even pull off complex maneuvers like swinging around obstacles to surprise their opponents. Mastery of the ninja rope often separates novice players from veterans, as it requires precise timing and control. The rope can also be used in conjunction with other weapons, creating dynamic and unpredictable gameplay scenarios. Worms Armageddon's multiplayer mode showcases the ninja rope's full potential. In competitive matches, players often engage in intricate rope maneuvers to gain the upper hand. The community has embraced the ninja rope, leading to the creation of rope race maps specifically designed to challenge players' grappling skills. Overall, the ninja rope is a key element that adds depth and excitement to the game, making it an absolute classic in this genre. As I said, this was my introduction to grappling hook games. This is when I felt, oh, I like this. Then there's Liero, often described as the real-time version of Worms. It was a freeware game released in 1998 that featured intense underground combat between two worms. One of the game's most iconic mechanics is the use of the grappling hook, which allows worms to navigate the complex, destructible terrain. The grappling hook is essential for both mobility and strategy, enabling players to quickly reposition themselves, avoid enemy fire, and launch surprise attacks. And unlike the ninja rope in Worms, you can swing and fire a weapon at the same time. In another twist from the formula it borrowed from Worms, the hook in Liero can even be used to pull enemies closer to you, making it a very versatile tool. It makes you feel like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. Liero's fast-paced gameplay and the effective use of the grappling hook create a thrilling and chaotic experience. Despite it being such a simple game, Liero's grappling hook remains a favorite feature that inspired numerous fan mods and variations, cementing its place in the hearts of kids everywhere who grew up wishing they could be Spider-Man. Magical Quest. This one is one that I think a lot of people don't associate with this genre, let's call it. Magical Quest is a charming platformer released by Capcom in 1992 for the Super Nintendo, being ported for the GBA some years down the road, as it happened with most of the SNES's classics. In this game, Mickey embarks on a quest to rescue his dog Pluto from the evil Emperor Pete. One of the standout gameplay mechanics is the use of the grappling hook, which Mickey acquires later in the game in the form of a mountaineer costume. This costume grants him the ability to grapple and swing across gaps and reach areas inaccessible by jumping alone, adding a unique twist to the platforming gameplay. The grappling hook in Magical Quest is not only a tool for traversal, but it also plays a crucial role in interacting with the environment at large. It allows Mickey to grab enemies and other objects like blocks, adding a layer of strategy and combat variety to the game. The whimsical and colorful world of Magic Quest is brought to life by the grappling hook's creative applications. From swinging across perilous chasms to grabbing enemies, the grappling hook adds a dynamic element to the gameplay. The combination of engaging platforming challenges, charming visuals, and the creative use of the grappling hook makes the Magical Quest such a memorable title. I honestly love it. If anything, I lament the fact that the grappling hook only becomes a thing much later into the game. Bionic Commando, I mean, you knew this one was coming, right? Bionic Commando, originally released in 1988 for the NES, is a classic action platformer that basically popularized grappling hook mechanics. Unlike typical platformers of its time, Bionic Commando abandons the conventional jump button, instead giving the player a bionic arm equipped with, you guessed it, a grappling hook. This arm allows the player to swing across gaps, climb to higher platforms, and navigate the game's levels with a unique sense of mobility. The grappling hook in Bionic Commando is integral to the game's design, which admittedly requires a bit of getting used to. Not being able to jump in a platformer in the NES era felt really strange. It's not that it's poorly implemented, it's just most people are so used to pressing a button to jump over obstacles, it takes a little while to rewire that idea in your brain to make it so that it makes sense to swing across instead. Players must master the art of swinging and grappling to progress through increasingly challenging environments. The game's level design is crafted entirely around this mechanic, with numerous obstacles and hazards that require precise use of the bionic arm. This approach sets Bionic Commando apart from its contemporaries and established it as a groundbreaking title in the platforming genre. Bionic Commando's legacy is defined by its challenging gameplay and the satisfying mechanics of the bionic arm. The game's difficulty curve ensures that players continuously refine their grappling skills, leading to a rewarding sense of accomplishment upon overcoming its toughest challenges. Over the years, Bionic Commando has inspired sequels, remakes, and spiritual successors which pay homage to the original's pioneer use of the grappling hook, solidifying its place in retro gaming history. And finally, one that again, I don't think a lot of people associate with the grappling hook thing, Earthworm Jim 2. Released in 1994, this is a quirky and humorous platformer that quickly became a cult classic. The game follows the adventures of an earthworm named, well, Jim, it's in the name, who, after donning a high-tech supersuit, gains extraordinary abilities. Among these abilities is a grappling hook, allowing Jim to swing across the map and reach new areas. This mechanic is essential to the game's platforming and exploration element, and it's the one case that I can think of where a video game character uses another character as a grappling hook, which makes sense because this is a shiny game and they were into making weird games back then. Still are, I think. I'm not sure if they're still around. I know I left a bunch of great games out, but I wanted to do this as a top 5. Perhaps if you guys enjoyed this video, I might make a follow-up. And there was one game that was, I think, the very first game to use grappling hook mechanics that I wasn't too sure if I should include in this one, so I guess there's your sequel hook right there. Speaking of hooks, if you guys enjoyed this video, maybe I'll do another one. That's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done.